We're live. So, welcome to today's Behind the Bots call with Craig and David. Here we are again. We are progressing, and I guess one of the real objectives of Behind the Bots is to really show people what's going on behind the scenes and what we're doing with the AI stuff. And I guess, like my view of the world is AI is now sort of hit the marketplace mainstream. In other words, you see it everywhere, right? And people are sort of still a bit confused or lost or offended by all these different things. But today specifically, Craig, I know you've been doing some work on using AI for telephone calls. Can you tell us a bit about the sort of, I suppose, the psychology behind this and the decision to go down this path?
Yeah, thanks, David. For us, it's probably less about the tech side of things, but more about the application.
Hmm.
So we see and have worked with a lot of businesses where their team has especially downsized in a post-COVID world. So how can we use AI to sort of fill out some of those voids or those gaps?
Yeah.
And one of those areas is inbound inquiry. And that could be through your website or through your social media or even through your telephone.
Yeah.
And especially if you're like a one-man tradie who makes his money while he's working, and if he's getting, 5, 10, 20 inquiries a day, and maybe two of those are actually legitimate, that means the other 10 or 18 or so aren't, they're just time wasters. Then this
Okay.
is where we feel that AI can really fill that void really well, because we can put an AI agent on the back of that phone call to inquiry about that particular product or service or business.
Yeah.
Um, Prompt the bot to ask some pre-screening or pre-qualifying questions,
Yeah.
and
Brilliant.
then set either a meeting or a follow-up call or whatever the next steps are off the back of that. So we
Okay.
sort of see it as almost like a concierge type thing, or a
Yeah.
low-cost concierge for your business.
Yeah. And I guess when you say that, I think of receptionist as the traditional role for this, which is a person who takes inbound calls and
Mm,
really just directs them.
yes.
It sounds like this has a little bit more intelligence in it. So when someone makes an inbound inquiry, it's a natural conversation rather than press one or press two. But the second part of it is it actually can take them a little bit further in terms of, answering questions or even directing them to the appropriate information or landing page. So I guess in a tradie scenario, the tradie is going to get calls of people saying, "Hey, my plumbing's broken. Can you come and fix it?"
Mm.
And does it drill down and ask specific questions around the type of fault or the type of service? Is that how you imagine it?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes if it's an emergency, so that the bots can be programmed so it ties in with the plumbers or the Sparkies calendar, like job calendar.
Hmm.
So if the person inquires, can you come out this afternoon? The bot can literally respond, well, yes, Bob's got a spot here at 3 o'clock. He can come and see you, or no, he's booked out today. Maybe he can, the next day or the next day. So
Right.
in terms of availability, in terms of information gathering, triaging, as I say, that triaging to ask some pertinent, where is the blockage?
Hmm.
What sort of, where is it in the house? Is it under the house, or is it in the roof, or is it in the walls?
Yeah.
And even I've seen some other ones more so on the chat side, where you actually can take a photo and upload that photo into the AI chat agent, and then it'll not so much give an assessment, but at least send that to the job file or the project folder, so that then the Sparky that's got to come out is got some sort of reference point to look at. So
Gotcha. Okay. So really, like it sounds to me like we're start moving into a world where this is just going to assist people with taking those initial calls.
mm,
It's reducing the delay because
yep.
rather than waiting for me to call you back because you went to my voicemail, you're already starting to engage. And if the bot can work out what it is, it can book the appointment or the call out. So it can actually give them satisfaction or value on the
Mhm.
call. So this sounds like an interesting idea because it would, in that scenario, save people a lot of time, I guess, first thing. And the second one is the speed to response would probably improve their conversion on these calls as well.
Absolutely.
And things like telemarketers, can it pick up an inbound telemarketer and sort of manage that as well?
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, we're exploring the not just inbound but also outbound AI agents. So what that means is they reckon on average, if you've got a small human-based telemarketing company, on average they'll do about 30, 40 calls in a day, whereas these bots can do about 1,000 a day. And it doesn't matter what time, so that you can make uh, um, sub, sequential calls, simultaneous calls all at the
Simultaneous
same
call.
time, just outbound calls to a database.
Yep.
And again, it's really just to get a connection or a touch point, or even ideally a next step. But if it doesn't, it can point them to sending some more information, at least getting an email, getting a name, all that sort of stuff. So it can be
Right.
very,
So now it sounds to me like it can integrate into the communication sequence as well. So it sounds like if someone makes like let's say we do an outbound call,
mm,
because devil's advocate, most people are already terrified about the amount of calls they're going to receive as an AI agent, just really just ringing them and spamming them basically on phone.
sure.
What's your thoughts around that?
Again, I think it just comes down to how you train the bot,
Hmm.
not just there to. I believe personally that bots aren't there to sell, but they are there to provide information and be helpful.
Yeah.
So have the outbound call, but again, do it in a nice, train the bot in a very professional but responsible and careful manner. If the recipient says no, then obviously that you say thank you, and then the call closes. But if they're showing some form of, oh, can you send me some more information? Or can I know more about that? Then the bot can obviously respond on your behalf, uh,
Mm.
providing the right steps or the information or materials back to them. And if
Right.
they would like a further, Craig, would you like someone to follow up with a further human call, obviously, on more information about that product or service? Yes or no? And they say yes. The bot is not only just taking the call, which is then obviously transcribed
Hmm.
and then the appointment set for the sales representative or the business owner.
Yeah.
So then all of that's automated, so they at least get it. Okay, and they just spoke to Craig. This is what he said. This is what he asked for. This is the type of, with the pre-qualifying type questions, you would have all those built in as well, so that then the sales rep's got a really good understanding of what this lead is potentially about, rather being another cold call.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. So really, what you're suggesting is with the outbound calls, we can use the bot to do the initial call.
Mm,
We're very candid about what we say. So we actually say this is a bot calling, and we're just calling but you'd have to have a good hook, I guess, to get people not to hang up immediately.
yes, correct.
But no different to the old traditional telemarketing, other than what you just said, is it can do 1,000 calls a day. It doesn't get sick. And so the
But also too,
volume.
there's usually, I'm sure with human-based telemarketers, there's a coaching cost as
Well,
part
there's a
of that.
variability, right? Depending on their motivation on the day.
Yeah,
So it's inconsistent. And I guess what
yeah.
you're suggesting is this thing is consistent. Your job is to make sure you give it the right sort of a workflow.
Mm,
And I guess take out any sort of any feeling of being pressured and
yeah.
just say it's a service, right? Hi, we're calling you. This is an AI bot that's calling on behalf of Beam Automation. We're here to help you improve the productivity within your business. If you'd like to find out more, press one or just say
Mm.
yes or something.
Just say yes. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just say yes and we'll continue. If not, I'm happy to hang up and never call you again.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
It's just a small little touch point. Again, that
Yeah.
the AI, with the AI, obviously you won't hear the fear, you won't hear the nervousness in their voice.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
and you can program it to make it sound like yourself if you really want it to. You can train it to record your own voice and it'll mimic that.
mm,
Um, but again, it's just coming back to a noisy world. Some companies obviously spend a lot of money on just digital inbound, but maybe a voice AI is just another way of outreaching to their target market, or just getting their products and services in another fashion. So
mm. Okay. So really, like it sounds like this technology is developing a lot, and there's a couple of different applications as you suggested. It can be inbound inquiry, it can be outbound telemarketing, it could be customer service. So we can really start programming these bots to take the majority of the transactional work and really focus our sales reps and our customer service reps on the personalized touch. Yeah.
but even if you're in, say, the tech space, so like if you've got a support call 24/7, someone can just ring up and say, look, my modem's not working, how can you help me? And then if the bot's responding on how to triage that or fix that problem, because the amount of times we're finding this is of really good benefit is all those really nuanced queries that um, people just don't bother go to the website to look it up. Like, what's your address? What's your opening hours? I mean, they technically could go to the website, but they actually ring in
Just ask the
and ask
same
and
question.
take the time away from the operator at the other end saying, well, yeah, operating is blah blah blah. But this is all done for them. So the time back is probably worth its weight in gold, I believe.
Yeah. So I guess, and I'm trying to sort of look at both sides of the coin, right? Because there's a lot of fear around this is going to sort of make our marketing worse,
Mm,
because we're using bots, which means when we amplify our marketing, if it's not great in the first place, it's just multiplying the chaos.
yep.
And I know a lot of people who are cynical of this world are sort of sitting there going, I just don't need more phone calls.
Yep.
But the way you just described it is it's about tuning it to your service and just making sure that it's not just a sledgehammer, it's more like a surgical implement that we're using to install this in the business. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, I think there's a little bit of fear in terms of people, or more, probably not so much fear, maybe it's perception on around that people think, oh, it's an AI bot, so it's just going to be standard across every single business in the way it responds. Well, no, because the beauty of the bot is it's a learning machine, so it's going to learn everything about the nuances of your particular business, your products, your services, the pricing structure, or your sales process, but that all comes down to the prompts and how you program it. So the more you can feed that into your bot, or whether it's voice AI or even a chat bot, the better it's going to get, and the more individualized, I suppose, it's going to get, learning about your business and how it responds back to your prospects and
All right.
customers.
So what you just suggested or described is we're employing a bot to do inbound or outbound telephone component of our, let's say it's our acquisition side of the business.
Mm,
And it can be contextual. So it can actually learn about the person. So if you left an inquiry and you said, Hi, it's Craig, I just really needed help in my plumbing,
mm,
the bot could then call you back and say, Hey, Craig, just ringing in to check in. We're organizing a workman to come out and solve your plumbing issue.
yeah,
And just can you let me know what time suits you best? And then the person can talk it through and say, Well, tomorrow at 10 a.m. The bot looks at the calendar. So it does that interim customer service piece.
yes.
Yeah, right. And then beyond that, it's also learning as it goes by volume. So it's just saying what people will and won't sort of accept in terms of how the calls go. There's a level of intelligence being stacked up at the same time.
Yeah, and if the more, as I say, if the more the bot understands about your business products and services, the more it's going to, and the better it's going to respond. So if the person does respond and says, "Look, I've actually got this particular problem, whether it's a plumbing issue or
Yeah.
whatever it is," the bot can, because you've trained it, it'll respond. And if you have you checked this? Have you looked under the house, or is there cracks, or is there mold, or all that sort of stuff, intelligence gathering, and provide a response on the back of that, which again helps customer service. Like,
Yeah, right. Okay. So who's it for? Like if you talk about the problems that people are having that this
mm.
solves, what is the problems that it solves? So who would it work
I
for?
think it's first and foremost very useful for businesses that get a lot of inbound inquiries every single day. So that could be trades, that could be like hair and beauty salons,
Hmm.
it could be retail, possibly even real estate as well. Just think of those high touch point or high
High,
volume.
high inbound inquiry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It could be
So and
customer
then
service or sales.
yeah, so I think if you look at the manual way and say if there are a 3 or 4 man team, real estate agents, for instance, and someone's ringing about a particular property, but then that human, for whatever reason, is tied up with an opening day or an auction or a viewing period or whatever it is, but can't respond immediately, but hears the voicemail, but then responds, 4 hours later or the next day, and then that lead response, oh, sorry, we've gone with someone else.
Yeah,
That
right.
time to response is crucial, as you know.
Yeah.
So, but even just having thanks, we've got your details. Craig will speak to you tomorrow or the next day or whatever the understanding what the problem or solution needs to be.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so really, who's it not for? So give me a sort of case where this would be a bad fit.
Um, well, definitely a business who doesn't have high volume
Oh, yeah.
inbound inquiries. That's a
Okay.
definite.
Yeah.
Um, Possibly, I think a lot of businesses that need to reference back material.
Hmm.
So say if an inquiry comes in and then the prospect or the customer is asking about some key information, but it needs to send them back a lot of information via, a document or URL links. It's probably not, because then the bot's going to have to spell out, that URL, whereas a chat bot's probably a better experience.
Okay. Okay. And I just wanted to sort of go to the other side because you talk, this is all the inbound customer service, inbound
Yes,
sales
yes,
inquiry. On the outbound side, there's obviously a lot of interest in the marketplace of getting a replacement for telemarketing that's more cost effective.
yes.
Have you got a sort of sense of where it would work more effectively and where it wouldn't work more effectively in terms of outbound?
Well, I suppose effectively it was any companies wanting to do more high volume outbound, um, and at a low cost, not having to train new staff, all that sort of stuff from a telemarketing perspective,
Yeah.
or going offshore. I suppose businesses that probably don't need that are businesses that just don't need a high volume of leads to grow their business. If you're a small business that only needs a handful of clients per year, then this is probably not for you. But if
Okay.
you're a business that needs that is in a growing phase, or just needs a high volume of leads and sales per month, that's probably ideal.
Yeah.
If I'm talking, probably if you're in the 40 to 50 lead per month mark, that you need, like, SQL, sales qualified leads, not just any leads. That's where this type of things are really good fit. Anything
Okay.
sort of below that you can easily do with just your digital marketing, and you
So a
know,
manual process or, personal touch.
or even just getting on the phone yourself.
Yeah. So if you're talking about maybe three or half a dozen calls a week, it's not
Yeah,
worth going down this track. But if
no.
you're starting to talk hundreds of calls, that's where this sort of technology could actually be a real cost
Yeah,
saving.
and if your sales team's got really high level sales quotas, then yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah. Is there any sort of legal ramifications that we should be aware of with using bots for making phone calls that you know of?
Not at this point in time. I've done a little bit of research, but there's nothing really out there in terms of actual legislation. I
Yep.
know there's companies now that are looking to not so much regulate, but put some sort of framework in place on how,
Hmm.
especially in the legal space, more so.
Yep.
But again, we just make sure that the bot, however it's programmed, isn't providing any personal information or
Yep.
procedures or systems within our company that could be, detriment our brand, if that makes sense. It's very much just
Yeah.
custom, what we just call is customer knowledge, because they can easily find it on the website, and it would be just simple protocol that's not have
Yeah.
any.
So really we're using it just for volume.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is we can talk to a lot more people in a shorter period of time. It's pretty low level conversation, so there's not really going in depth and trying to solve problems of the world. It's just
Mm.
really sort of saying, "Hey, we're here and we can help you." We can program all that, and then it'll sort of integrate with our current system, which means if there's chat or email or SMS or phone calls even, it will sort of integrate with that. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And
Good.
again, it's we just sort of look at it as it's a stepping stone. It's not the be all end all, and plus we don't want to keep them, the customers or the prospects, on the AI treadmill. It's really just that initial engagement. Can we help you? This is how we can help you. Would you like to speak to a human representative or a sales consultant, or whatever the next step is
Yeah.
off the back of that?
It's like that initial outbound call just to gauge interest.
Yeah,
And then
100%.
anything from that then starts to become a bit more humanized.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Look, mindful of time, I appreciate your input because this is, we talk about behind the bots a lot, and there's different elements, and voice has been one of those elements that's interesting, but people are also terrified by because it's sort of in your face, and you can pretend to be a human, or you can just be like transparent and say, "I'm actually a bot," and I think that's a safer way to go because then people can just decide what they want to do with that call.
Yeah.
It forces people to think about value propositions and how to articulate it in a way that's not too salesy, but helpful. And I guess it's changing the languaging that we would use on outbound telemarketing.
Mm.
So it's a good addition, I guess, to the automations that are available or to
Yeah.
the AI stuff that's available because often people get confused by it. So I think it's an important one. For us internally, we haven't gone down the track of voice yet. We're starting to look at it as you suggested in the volume spaces.
Mm,
When we talk about behind the bots, most people are sort of trying to pigeonhole what AI can and can't do, but the reality is it fills in the gaps by the sound of it.
mm,
It
mm.
literally says you've got some gaps in your funnel or you've got some gaps in your workflows. You can fill it in with this thing. So we're not taking away the human, but we're just adding a layer of, another communication channel, another way to keep people in touch without having to sort of spend money exponentially on it as well.
That's right.
So if we were, sorry, you can say something.
I was just going to say, but also too, and we've spoken about this before, we're in an age where a lot of this technology is so amazing compared to 10, 20 years ago, and it's
Yeah.
just so low cost. I mean, you think about if I was a, I am a small business, but if I was to hire a proper tele, it would cost me thousands to do that if I was to do that today. But whereas this is for a small team, you can implement this at such low cost, and knowing that your outreach is just happening in the background or even inbound is just happening day or night, 24/7. So you don't have to answer those late night plumbing inquiries of at midnight or 2 a.m. in the morning. It can respond in seconds and potentially help that person straight away without the business owner being involved, or the sales team being involved just yet.
And the thing I've found, because we talk a bit about how AI is a threat to some functions within a business. But what I'm seeing more and more of is it's not actually replacing people, it's actually augmenting. And so the
Absolutely.
people who are using it are providing a better level of engagement or a better level of service with the same employees. And the 24/7 thing is interesting because I think if you already have 24/7, this would just make it better.
Mm.
If it didn't, then this would be an entry into that world without spending, on big wages. So it's a thought process of the integration, I think, that's key. It's not just really should I do this or this. It's how do I make my service delivery or my workflows better?
Mm. But also, too, one of the biggest questions we always ask, how is it going to make your customers, improve your customer service and improve your customer experience? And if this AI outbound or inbound or even chatbots is going to just add another level of improving that customer service or customer experience, then it's a
Yeah.
absolute no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. So to wrap all this up into maybe one or two sentences, what's your thought process around the voice AI and how it's sort of being implemented by businesses?
Well, as you just we did a pre-trial just before on this webinar call, podcast call, but it's just going to get better and better and better. It's good now, but it's just going to get better and better. And but also not just from a technological standpoint, because it is AI, it's also going to be learning about your business better and better and better. The more you program it, the more you tweak it,
Mm.
the more you keep uploading, sales processes or protocols, and the bot will just respond in such more experienced and much more knowledgeable way about enhancing your business all the time.
Yeah, and I guess what you said about it learning, a lot of people don't really sort of see that value. They
Yeah.
look at it as, I can ask it a question, it gives me an answer that as it learns. So as you give it more data, it starts
Mm.
to work out the patterns and it starts to see things that most humans couldn't see. And I guess that's an important element. So even if people aren't ready to sort of use AI voice, just understanding where it can potentially improve your current process is a key thought process because as you say, it's only going to get better.
Just to wrap up quickly, but one of the biggest things that we've seen in the last few years is people just want information quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
They want that either an instant response or some sort of information, or point me in the right direction, or give me a
yeah,
contact that I can connect with. We've seen that happen in probably the window's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and anything outside of that means they basically go off to your competition. So the more that you can serve that little window 24/7, especially now we're all global, websites are global, they can find you any time of day or night.
yeah.
But if you've got a system that can pounce on that lead or inquiry within minutes, that's
And I
going
think this is super interesting, right? Because you talk about speed, and I
yeah.
think the biggest value in business is people's attention is the premium commodity. It's not time anymore; it's attention.
Yeah.
And so when you've got someone who's got their attention on you, so they're making an inquiry that's the time to engage, and it could be 3 a.m. in the morning. And
Correct.
so without doing yourself a disservice and losing sleep, you can start building an infrastructure that can handle that initial inquiry and start the relationship, or just really just start the questioning process.
Mm,
That's the secret sauce here, is really saying, how do we make sure that we're available 24/7, and I guess potentially in different languages,
yeah.
globally, so that when people inquire within our ecosystem, that we can start the conversation so they feel like they're actually engaged in some sort of in some sort of workflow. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
that's fantastic. Look, I guess if anyone needs to find out more about this, they can reach out to you directly. We're quite happy to talk about it because we're sort of looking at this as part of our integration into our
Mm,
bot army. But yeah, it's easy to reach us through this podcast. If anyone has any questions, we'd love to get them, even if we use those questions as a primer for our conversations on these podcasts. So if anyone out there has questions around behind the bots, how can we use bots in our business more effectively? This is a
yeah.
great platform to just get that information, because I know you're probably as excited as I am about this integration into the business world and how AI can really change the way people run their business.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. All right, Craig, thanks very much again for today, and we'll
Thanks,
look forward to
David.
hearing about the next innovation on the next call.
Sounds good.
Cheers.